And we're back here, main event, having some fun, finishing up that hour there with some baseball talk. Of course, Arizona underway tonight. And then this guy, Uncle Lou, joins us. Gamblu.com, of course. VSIN, you can find him as a contributor on some of their shows on VSIN Live as well. Gamblu, how you doing today?
Good morning, everybody.
It's all.
I just want to say how flattering it is to be able to come here each week, get in front of a professional recording studio, and share thoughts about investing in sports gaming, which is what Steve lets me do. It's a casual format, but we're serious.
Yes.
And we're hopefully trying to help everyone contribute to everyone's line of thought pertaining to gambling. Doesn't mean you have to gamble. It just means if you are, you can listen to thoughts here, decide what you want to do with them. I've done this for a long time. I have a web page that's called gamblu.com. There you can go and get everything there is to know about me, but I live in Phoenix. I get to Vegas often. It's an easy drive. This is the culture I've been involved with for almost 50 years now, actually longer than that, but professionally for probably 40 years or so. And Steve lets me come on here and share ideas about all the sports that are going on. That's why it's exciting. Right now you got hockey playoffs, baseball opening day.
We're 2 weeks away from hockey playoffs starting.
The Sweet 16's going on. I'm not a basketball guy, but that's a huge event that people pay attention to. So there's a lot happening. The Masters are around the corner. The Kentucky Derby's May 1, so you got action coming up. And we're here to try and give you perspective on it. And what you do with it's up to you. So On our webpage, we highlight the oldest mission in the state called the San Xavier Mission. If you go to the top band of Gamblu and go all the way to the right, you'll see that the San Xavier Mission is near and dear to our hearts. And we just want everyone to know that they're doing great work. It's the oldest mission in the country. They're doing great work down there. We highlight them, we contribute to them, and invite others to do so. Lastly, I do 2 podcasts, both pertaining to the UFC. One's the Sneak Teep podcast each week. On Sunday, it comes out. It's an opening line report on the upcoming week's fights. No one with any right mind listens to that unless, of course, you're interested in gambling on UFC fights. If, in fact, you're interested in gambling on UFC fights, then you want to listen to this podcast because I tell you where the opening lines are and where they've moved immediately, so you have a full week ahead of time, which is more than enough time to watch those numbers percolate through the week. Then Friday, I do About Business podcast. That's tomorrow. After weigh-ins, final releases. And lo and behold, we go 4-1 last week and had a huge week. And that does happen once in a while, too. So it's always nice when that happens. Steve lets me highlight that infomercial on myself each day. So
I'm mostly proud of it because you also say when you have terrible weeks. So you're not one of those guys that's like, oh, I went 4-1, and then when you lose or have a bad week,
then we never mention. No, I do mention it when
I like it.
And because I mention it when I have a bad week, I have to mention it when I have a good week. Otherwise, people think that I'm an anchor over here, and I'm not. We do find success every once in a while. So enough about yesterday's success means jack squat today. Let's talk about what we got upcoming. And then we got a full court of stuff to discuss.
Yeah, busy day today. Of course, UFC fights from Seattle this weekend. Right. We just got done with London last week. We'll talk about that a little bit. Got some questions about last week's fight. But before we get into that, it's interesting you said, we do a casual here. That's kind of if you guys know anything about most of my shows, McCollum on Business is a little formal. But other than that, I like to have a little fun. So somebody actually reached out and said, the professionalism can be lacking on your show. He actually said that to me. And I was like, well, that's what VSIN's for.
On this show?
Yeah, I go, so it's funny you brought that up. Did he message you too?
No.
But my response was, if you want that formal gambling stuff, that's what VSIN's for. They do it professionally and that stuff. We're here to have a little bit of fun while we're talking.
You're a sports show that provides a segment for it.
Yeah.
I'm flattered you do, and I'm glad you do, and I hope we earn our position because this is a fun hour of the week every week.
Yeah, it was funny. It's just interesting. It was a few weeks ago, but I was just like, really? You're complaining that I'm not formal enough?
I would say that if you're starting to get every once in a while a critique and it's rough and it's not, then you're doing okay.
Yeah, that's the way
you
I
know
look
what I'm
at
saying.
it.
That's a good thing probably, because I know you get good compliments.
Oh yeah,
as well.
more so good than bad. To be
and
honest
those are the easy ones to respond to as well.
No, I'll take the criticism, but it's also, like I said, we could, Lou, take this show and go do a VSIN type show, more formal and that stuff, but it's just not my style, and that's not what we do here on the main event. So,
yeah, I'm glad.
And I think it's a different perspective as well, because I do watch those types of shows also, and they're entertaining for what you want, but also, like you said, gamblers are paying attention to us right now, but so are non-gamblers because of how we do this in entertaining. I can't tell you enough times where there's some UFC fights that I don't bet on, Lou, and I'll be talking to somebody and I'll be like, oh no, do this. It allows me to converse with somebody in an intelligent way that I wouldn't be able to otherwise, and not even have any bets on it or anything like that effect. So I think it just makes me look smart. And I have to thank Lou for that.
Well, I will say this, I can tell you, because NHL playoffs are right in front of me and I got UFC, I prioritize, and I could not really name more than 2 or 3 players on the Diamondbacks team. He just got done talking about 4 guys by name that are in the bullpen. So your knowledge on and you come from a perspective of the fan.
Yes.
You need to apologize to nobody and do your thing. I think you're out there to invoke opinion. So if you're getting response, that's a good thing.
Well, no, I'm an opinion host. That's what we do.
Absolutely.
We're not your news person or anything. We're here for our opinions and what we think. And Lou, look, you don't cover college basketball, but Sweet 16 gets underway today. Well, first of all, are you nervous about your Cats tonight?
I've been vocal critique, a criticizer. I'm not getting the right word, but I've been one that has not been pro Arizona in the NCAA tournament, simply because their history has been to bully everybody in the pack all the way in, and then when they get in, they pull a hammy. Well, this year they weren't in the pack. They were in a much more difficult league, and they did respectfully. And all my Cat friends are telling me this is a different year, and I hope it is. I have them to make the Final Four from the beginning of the year, just because that's a heart bet that I put out there, and so that would be a nice ticket to cash if they can. They seem to be set up well for it, but we don't know, and especially now, there's been no underdogs up till now. It's been
for the most part.
It's really been non-competitive. Well, now you're getting down to good teams either way, and this Arkansas has a guard that is really good. So, and we have young guys. So, and you don't want to listen to me about the positions because it's not my sport. I'm regurgitating
I brought up the coaching
heard.
situation. John Calipari, I respect highly as a college coach.
He is the Arkansas coach, and we play Arkansas, right?
Yep. So I think highly of him. I think it's going to be a closer game, but Lou brought in, he knows a lot of people in the industry, brought in some picks for us today.
So I brought these are my buddy Matt Human's picks, who I gave last week, as well as that crazy doctor who I haven't spoken with in a few days for other reasons. So here's Human's picks for this weekend. And I would say there are positions that I have won already, because when he put these out, I took it right away. First one is Texas plus 7.5. Texas plays Purdue, and
the winner of that game plays Arizona.
And favorites have beat the brains out of underdogs in this tournament the whole way, against the spread and straight up. So here's a dog, and it's Texas plus 7.5, and he ain't done with dogs yet. He's on the Illini tonight plus 3.5, and that 3.5 long gone. That's now a 2.5 or 3 if you can get it. I'd tell you to wait before that game tips. I really like the Illini a lot, and I'll tell you why. Because in my bracket, I knew no one would take them, and I used the Illini to win it all. And if they win this game, they play the winner of Iowa and Nebraska, and I think they set up well to do well. Now,
by the way, they play Houston in Houston.
Yes, no, I get it. I get the whole thing, but that's why I'm saying I like Illinois. That's not what. That's even though that's one of Human's picks. I hope he's right with that.
Well, I mean, it's a 2 versus 3 seed. It's just Houston's playing like a mile from their campus.
The whole world's on Houston. I just love.
By the way, it is a 2.5-point spread on FanDuel right now.
I knew it was going to get to this game anyway, so let's bring it on. Okay, here's his third pick, and that's the Johnnies. St. John's getting 7.5 against who the hell they play?
Duke. Yeah.
They play Duke. They're getting 7, not 7. That's a big difference. 7.
Right now on FanDuel, it's 6.5.
There you go.
Because he put this out yesterday, right? Or when did these picks come out?
Yeah, but I'm looking right now.
Oh, you're looking right now? Okay. I'm using FanDuel.
I'm looking across all kinds of sports.
I got 6.5 right now on FanDuel for Duke to.
Oh, you know what? Most of them are 6.5. There's a 7 at Circa. They're all 6.5. Yeah. Good, astute point. So what that means is that there's a little bit of St. John's action. They don't want to make them as attractive as 7. So you may want to wait and see how that one works. Anyway, St. John's.
I do like St.
7.
John's tonight. I don't know if I'm going to pick them to win, but I
tonight?
do like them tonight. Or you know what that is? That
Friday.
Tomorrow? That's tomorrow. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Okay, and then the next one is also a Friday game, and that's UConn minus 1.5, and they're
Michigan State.
Minus anywhere from 1 to 2, anywhere you look.
Yeah, 1.5 at FanDuel right now, and I know DraftKings was 1.5 this morning as well when I looked. So.
FanDuel 1.5, DraftKings 1.5. They're all one. Yeah, they're mostly 1.5. Sports. Westgate's got a deuce. Caesars, the Vegas places have 2s.
Really?
Okay, so that's the 4. Basketball. I wish I could help.
Well, he's
more
got Connecticut
with
as the favorite. Were you saying? I'm sorry.
He has Connecticut minus 1.5, and that's where they stand.
That's the one game that I'm like, I don't know who's going to win that. That's a toss-up
and that's
in my
the one
eyes.
I already bet. I didn't bet him minus 1.5. I took him minus 120 on a money line, and I bet that one pretty good.
Yeah, and it's minus 128 right now on the money line.
And the only reason I did is I think maybe no one has ridden Izzo longer and harder for decades than me. No one. But I think this one might be a time, the right time to jump off, because to me, what makes more sense than UConn St. John's in a rubber match?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and UConn, if they make it to the Sweet 16 under Dan Hurley, they win championships. So that's how they won the last 2. Interesting looking back stat.
It should be a really fun weekend of basketball. Even I get fired up for this weekend in basketball because these games are good. Arizona, I think we learn a lot about Arizona, and that's tonight, isn't it?
Yep, at 6:45. I think we learned a lot about Arizona last week against Utah State.
Utah State was a bunch of little scrappers.
That's a game that Arizona traditionally would have lost in the tournament.
You know what?
And they pulled it out.
During that game, there were many feelings within me that are like, here we go again, baby.
Yeah.
Here they come. And then they close it to 2, and then got run away again. But whatever.
So I think that set them up. Because I think tonight for Arizona is going to be a close, hard-fought game. I think they have the talent to get past it. But there are a lot of dangers in this game tonight, including head coaching style. Plus, I brought up, Lou, I don't know if you take this into account. North Carolina position's open. Supposedly the Kansas head coaching position's opening up. Tommy Lloyd's going to be talked about in those. He had to address it yesterday beforehand. And I don't care what you say. A coach can say, I'm focused on Arizona. His agent isn't. His agent's trying to find him the best human deal out there.
They're not asking the agent the questions.
You got that's the problem. It's a little bit of a distraction here sneaking in. Might not come into fruition tonight, but maybe the next game it gets louder and things. So it's something to watch as well from the Arizona perspective, in my opinion. You can't tell me that a head coach at Arizona isn't going to look at Kansas.
I love to find the smallest crevasse to be able to crawl through and debate you on the other side of. But in this case, I think I have to read you loud and clear and say that it's more than nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm just sorry. Any basketball coach's dream is to coach at Kansas. I mean, you could say the same for UNC.
Oh, no,
There's some other
I
stuff.
would say, Roy Williams left Kansas to go to UNC, so I'd have to say it's...
UNC has some other stuff happening that I think knocks it down. It's still, no, don't get me wrong. You want to coach at either one of those. but especially Kansas, I think, is the one that
How
you would look at.
How do Tommy J? What's our guy's name?
Tommy Lloyd.
Tommy Lloyd. How does he and Self get along? Because Self's going to probably help appoint him.
Exactly right. I don't know. But then the rumors came out yesterday that Tommy Lloyd and his athletic director had some issues this year, and they're still there. That snuck out yesterday morning as well.
You know what that means? That means Arizona better get to the table with the pen. And that's traditionally not their deal.
No, that's why I said. That's why that leaked out yesterday morning. Is Tommy Lloyd's team going, hey, we'll stay. It's going to cost you for us to stay. And stuff like, so that's what I'm saying. It's not the fact that he could go to Kansas or go to North Carolina.
It's the fact that he's getting a raise.
He's going to get some money here out of this from Arizona if he's going to stay. Does that? I don't care who you are. You're a human. You could be focusing on Arkansas all you want tonight, but he was fielding those questions yesterday. You're having conversations with your agent on what the parameters are, what you want him to do, and you're taking your focus off of it. I'm not saying it's going to be an issue, but it's something to watch, I think, coming up here for Arizona on the coaching side. So it'll be fascinating to see where it goes. Once the game tips off, I think it goes by the wayside. But it comes to preparation in my eyes. You know who's not dealing with that? John Calipari. He's perfectly fine at Arkansas, and he's not paying attention to that other stuff. So he comes in a little bit more focused with his coaching level. I'm going to be watching that closely tonight. And Arizona should win this game, but I'll be watching it regardless. So, hey, baseball season starting. What do you got for us on baseball? Any thoughts?
Gosh, this is such a great time of year because, yes, I do have a few thoughts. I'll remember most of my wagers because there aren't a lot. I have to make the playoffs or not make the playoffs. I used the Diamondbacks to make the playoffs at 2-1, just over 2-1, plus 210. Small wager. I used the Padres to miss the playoffs, and I bet minus 130 on that. I paid a little price there. I took Seattle to win their division minus 105. And to me, that's close to an even bet. I love the bet because I didn't have a big minus price in front of that. My wager that I'm hanging my hat on, and the biggest wager that I have, is the Indians under 80.5 games, minus 105. I took that some time ago. And I took it because ex-Indian closer Jensen Lewis does the VSIN show with Dave Ross, and they have me on each Friday. And as I was doing my season totals, I was looking at Cleveland, and I knew Jensen was that. So I said, hey, I mean, looks like Cleveland could have their hands full this year. You know, what's your thought? When he got done with me, I raced to the computer to take the under in Cleveland 80.5. I believe that number is now 79.5 is best.
It was as of last night.
Yeah, as best you could do. But and so I also took, full disclosure, and it was only plus 235, the Dodgers to win the World Series.
I took that yesterday too, Lou.
Did you get that close to that price?
I think it was 230. I can look it up.
Yeah, it's just something right there. Yeah. So
I was shocked. I was shocked at that. I'll take that 2-1.
That's no value at all. But you know what? I think it's potentially you're surely going to get to the pennant.
I know it's not good numbers, but I expected it to be actually less. The closest team to him, I think, was the Yankees.
I mean, the way they have it set up, I mean, if you were a wise guy, a lot of wise guys are taking the Yankees, the Dodgers under 102.5.
That's what I did.
Because they know that they don't give two poops about making 105 games. They just want to be fresh.
Last year they won 103, so I went under.
And they were under,
also.
right?
Yeah.
So baseball starts. And so if you see the bets that I make, none of them is day-by-day bets or to win the month or any of that, because at this point in time, my focus has to be on College World Series and hockey playoffs, not in that order, the opposite order.
I got Dodgers at plus 210, by the way, to win
plus
the World
210,
Series.
Okay.
Yesterday, around 10 o'clock yesterday morning, 11 o'clock. So I don't know what it's changed to now.
2-1, you shop around, you'll find 230 or 240, but that's kind of where I sit there. If the Dodgers blow, Then I'm a loser, and I got to hope that some of my other positions win. The key one is the under on Cleveland. That one is 5 times all the others together.
That makes sense. I didn't look at Cleveland for the over-unders. Last year they surprised everybody and
I
outperformed. So.
Like having an ex-Major League Baseball closer as my buddy telling me about his old team who he still loves. So, and there could be heart in him, but he was disappointed overall.
I saw yesterday. I generally don't do bets like this, but it was just a little fun one I did. I found this a Survivors one on FanDuel here. So basically the last team to not be shut out. No, to not be shut out on the season, meaning
the
0
last
runs.
Team, okay, so the chalk would be the Dodgers.
Yeah, plus 850.
And then the next one would be what, the Yankees?
It was the Yankees.
Yeah.
But then, plus 850 for the Dodgers. So I went ahead and put a little $5 on that, on the Dodgers to not be the last team shut out this year.
Interesting. Well,
which means they'll go 0 for today.
Well, no, they're usually slow starters.
That's what I mean. I know.
So.
Yeah. But plus 850, I was like, oh, it'll be a fun little,
you know what,
fun little
good
bet
for you
to do.
Have fun, because you know what keeps, as I will always say, keeps your nose in the sports page each day. Nobody has a sports page anymore. It's all computerized. Back in my day, it was the sports page, and so I was looking at box scores. That's how we got all the information we get off of this machine.
Well, then it was even funnier because last night the Giants got, and I was like, "There's one team out." So it's a little bit of fun last night with the blowout game.
You got a little graph, and you can put your little check marks there.
I won't pay attention to it again until it'll pay out or it won't.
Hell no.
I'll
every day.
I'll see the zeros, but I'm not going to be like, who got shut out today? Or
I'll be checking the page almost every day to see what Cleveland does and all season long. That's what the fun of that bet is.
So I don't know. I just saw that and just something was like, I'll do a little bet on that. That seems like a fun thing to do. But that is the problem with the Dodgers is slow starts. You got to wonder. You got to worry a little bit on that, but it's just a fun little $5 thing.
All I worry about is that they're all healthy come the end of September, baby.
What else we got? I know college baseball, ASU's on fire right now.
How about ASU in college baseball?
Man, they can't lose right now. I know they lost, but they're on fire, and they were without their best player.
They're competitive, and they're every night, all 3 or 4 nights, wherever they go.
They just got their best player back after missing a few weeks, and they were winning while he was gone.
And I don't have them, and they were long, so it's. And I really took no long shots. Most of my releases, if you go back a few blogs on Gamblu, I should update those. They're all alive. Every one of them is alive, but it doesn't matter who's alive right now in March and April. It matters in May when they start the tourney. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm watching college baseball, but a lot of focus on hockey. Hockey's got 8-10 games left.
2 weeks, so we'll be in the playoffs.
Now I can start to look at teams, and besides monitoring, you can see playoff overtime wins, overtime losses.
That's what you look at.
Shootout wins, shootout losses. A team that loses 10, 11 games via the shootout, that tells you they're not a shootout team, but that doesn't mean they can't play 60 minutes of hockey. And so I'm really doing my work on hockey right now. To get ready for the playoff season. And there is playoff type games as teams compete to get to that wild card.
Detroit's sucking.
And it's not out of the question that between now and the time the playoffs start, 3 weeks from now, put out 1 or 2 hockey thoughts on Twitter. I might do it. If I do, I feel like I have a good feel for it. And I'll have something on it myself. I won't put it out if I don't have something on it myself. And so that's kind of just to put my toe in the water and test myself again publicly, because I do this publicly. That's a good practice point.
Detroit, by the way, lost 2 in a row now. They're 2 games out. Islanders ahead of them, and they're both outside the playoffs looking in. Detroit's been in the playoffs last couple of years with that a couple weeks. Ottawa's now in there in that second spot, and then Boston's in that first wild card spot in the East. But the Islanders are also there. So Red Wings are in a battle here for that second wild card spot, and they're on the outside looking in. But Buffalo, Tampa Bay, and Montreal are still doing really, really well there in the East. And Buffalo's getting better, Lou, as the season goes on. They're gonna. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they contend to.
Yeah, Buffalo believes. I have a little wager on them for the East. Is more recreational than anything. I'd like to invest in the Canadians, partly because I like the way they play. The other part is when I was a little kid growing up, I love the Canadians. If I got a sliver of something, there's Canadian blood in me a little bit. Plus, I'm a hockey fan. I want what's best for the league, and it's so good when Canadian teams make the playoffs and go deep. It would be even better if one could hoist, but we could be a few years away from that. Yeah. Anyway,
Colorado and Dallas, by the way, have even though Dallas has lost 2 in a row now, but they both clinched playoff spots as well.
Yeah, and everybody looks at them as the big two that it's inevitably coming down to. And I beg to differ over there. I think in the West, Minnesota could have something to say about it, and I'm not putting it out that where are they? The Kings.
The Kings are third. They're right outside there. They're 3 points back behind Nashville right now.
Yeah, we got a lot of hockey to play. We'll have to see how it goes. But really,
Kings got hot when they hired that new head coach, and then they've kind of stumbled.
Well, they're not too far away, and they got Nashville, who I'm not sure belongs, and Utah, who might belong.
Utah's won 5 in a row. I'm sorry, not Utah. Nashville's won 5 in a row. They've gotten hot at the right time. Right. So. We'll see. But, yeah, that's coming up, of course. Lou, anything else on any of those sports?
No, I think we got them covered. Well, how about that?
Let's take our break here. Come on back. Last week's UFC action from London. A couple questions there on a couple of those fighters. Then, of course, this weekend up in Seattle, of all places. Speaking of Seattle. So come on back. It's the main event with Uncle Lou. Lou's trying to talk some sense into me and stop worrying about the Diamondbacks and just watch the games. All right, Lou. Let me project what I think is going to happen on everything and be a worrywart.
I'll watch a month and then pipe in.
Well, they have a tough. I'm not going to judge the Diamondbacks by their first schedule. They have a tough beginning of the schedule.
Good.
So we'll see how they come out on that.
Let's find out.
And then we'll go from there, right, in terms of that side. But UFC last week, Lou. Was up there in London. Man, that was fun. Early fights. I felt like the fights went on a little bit long, like at 4 o'clock. I'm like, am I still watching UFC fights? I felt like the whole event went a little bit long, but it might have just been my perception of it out there. A couple fights I have to ask you on here as well. In the prelims there, your buddy, Brando Persic, they're from Australia against Sutherland. You were big on Brando there. Round 1 KO for him. Minute 48 into that fight. Are you still high on Perisic going forward, or were you impressed with that victory?
Well, listen, the Sutherland's Englishman fighting in front of his home crowd, so you know you're going to get his best effort. And it's hard to judge the other young man, Persic, the Aussie, the Balkan fighter. He fights out of Australia. But he was violent. He went right after it, and the heavyweight division is starved for any kind of explosive talent. So he'll rise quickly to the ranks, just like
We'll talk about our buddy there,
Waldo Cortez Acosta, who has risen because the heavyweight division is thin.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. He was what I traditionally think of a heavyweight fighter. Just goes in there toe to toe. Wailing on everybody, takes some shots, lays the power out there. You saw that from him. We've seen a lot of heavyweights lately that go the distance. They're tired in round 2.
But their physiques aren't what this kid's was.
Yeah. And it just that's what my question to you was. Did he stand out because he's what you think a heavyweight fighter is? Is the talent really there, or is it just that he looked the part? And that's why I was so impressed with him.
At 245 pounds, he looked the part, okay?
He did.
Against a 265-pounder that's slow, can't move, and is chinny. All right. But what happens when he gets into the upper echelon? I think he could do well if he can get over the size difference. Yeah. He's going to be the smaller guy. But if he can be the quicker, faster guy and land aggressive shots to their noggin like that, he can put anyone out. It's just what happens when he gets to Gane, what happens, when he gets to Pereira or some of these elite heavyweights.
That's why I'm asking about him. I was really impressed with him, and I was like, this kid's going somewhere. And then I started thinking, Yeah, but it was that who he was facing? Is it just the way he fought?
Yeah,
That's what I expect if he gets up there. So we'll have to wait and see. Huh?
It's like the Patriots. They made it to the Super Bowl, and everybody's telling you they didn't play anybody. They played everyone on their schedule. All this kid can do is fight who they give him, and they'll give him a better opponent next. And if he runs through him like he did this guy, then he's got some money to make.
Well, I mean, the other heavyweight fight, Mario Pinto and Felipe Franco, more like what I was talking about, kind of what you see with the heavyweight division. Yeah, they landed shots and things, but a third-round decision, and it was kind of a disappointment based off of the one we just saw there with Perisic.
It was, but you got to understand, Franco's a 205er, and so he was 238 or something, and fought a legitimate 265-pound
there was a big size
to
difference.
a decision. That's why it looked lackluster, because the little guy got tired beating the bejeebies out of the big dude, and the big dude had a hard time catching up to the little dude. So that one went kind of as
the size difference in that fight was they kept referencing it too, and it was amazing. Yeah, we got to talk about your buddy Nathaniel Wood. He went in. You thought he could do it. I put money on him as well. Went in there against Chieta and got the split decision. I thought he won that fight. I didn't think there was a question about it. Going into it, and Wood did what you thought he would do last week.
Wood did what we thought he would do. We know the kind of man he is. We've talked about that here. He's a good, solid stand-up dude. They gave him a young up-and-comer making his debut into the UFC, and he missed his weight the last time out. That caused a snafu that the UFC wasn't happy about. So they give him Wood. This was no favor to Chieta that they give him Wood, and then you see the result. And yet Wood was plus 200. So they're just like another one. Every once in a while we hit one. And that one, you bet one, you win two. That made a good opening run for us as we hit this card and hit nailed a few others.
I literally I went to decision. I was like, Wood's got this. And I was like, man, look at Lou selling Wood like he did and everything.
Oh,
it was fantastic.
Well, it's nice to hit one once in a while, especially 76-23. What's that? Favorites in the UFC.
Dominant.
That's
right
like
now.
76%. That it runs 62, 63 usually. It's really hard to find underdogs right now, and so I'm not deterred. I just have to lower the amount of selections and try and shoot a little bit straighter, and that's tough for a cross-eyed guy.
Hey, Danny Silva, round 2, 30 seconds into it, beat Curtis Campbell in this fight in the featherweight bout there. Danny Silva, I tried to go back and look through my notes, see what you said about Silva. I don't remember what you thought about Silva going into this fight, but did it change your opinion the way he won that fight in that second round?
It did, because I got carried away and used Curtis Campbell in one side of a parlay.
I remembered you liking Campbell.
That was a loss for me. And Silva showed me a lot. Campbell looked as a fighter like he looks as a human being, nerdy, soft, and weenie. And that's how he fought. And Silva kicked his butt. That was our loss. So we'll turn the page.
Yeah, CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan got the unanimous decision in his fight against Dolidze.
Yeah, that was a showcase for CLD. He's good. He's going to be there. He's a threat, and meanwhile, Dolidze is a gatekeeper that'll fight, other guys like Jack Hermanson and other.
CLD seemed surprised it went to a decision. I mean, he gave him all the credit. I would say surprised, but were you kind of surprised, or did you think the decision? You thought kind of a different fight for CLD there? Because I seemed like he thought, I wanted to knock him out and do all this stuff.
Dolidze is a freaking tough dude, and this was 185, but Dolidze fights also at 205.
Yeah,
it's gonna be hard for any 185er to knock Dolidze out.
Your boy Iwo. Oh my goodness, you were not wrong about this guy.
I told you this dude is a monster.
I don't even think the fight. I didn't even get a chip from the dip to my mouth before that fight was over.
That was the end of that.
I jokingly put out. Did it even start? Wow. I mean, Austin Lane was a little upset that the ref called it.
No,
but I mean,
that was freaking
you
cold.
had to have, man. Yeah, I mean, I thought it funny afterwards with Iwo because he said, I thought I'd have to wrestle in this one. I'd be able. He wants to show off his abilities and other things.
He can't get there.
But first round knockouts nonstop.
He can't get there. He touches people and they just freaking.
Yeah, so collapse. I did find that ironic that he actually said, I worked hard on wrestling on this. Thought I might have to wrestle in this fight. And he goes, first, he's Polish, so he's broken English. He goes, knockout. What are you going to do?
Yeah, right.
It was so great at the end. But that guy is just violent. and he doesn't look the violent part, which is even more amazing to see from him. So I just want to give you props for that. I mean, you sold that, and it was 28 seconds of just pure joy watching him in that ring as well.
Right.
Page against Patterson in this fight, unanimous decision here again in this welterweight.
Went from opposite fights. A great fight. There was an early knockout to one where nothing is like watching paint dry.
Both of these guys are fades to you.
No, Michael Venom Page he was going forward trying to make a fight. Patterson wanted nothing to do with him and stayed on the outside and danced around. I blame it all on Patterson.
Okay,
Page is shouldering the blame from people that have an opinion. Yeah. But my opinion is that Page was the one moving forward trying to initiate something.
He couldn't do anything.
Yeah. But you can't dance if she says no, bro. You can't do it.
Yeah, that's why I asked. That's what you're here for, because I watched that fight and went,
that's what
these guys are awful. These guys are both awful.
Oh,
so that's why I asked you. Luke Riley and Aswell Jr. here. Riley got the win. Another unanimous decision here in a featherweight bout. Do you like Riley after this fight?
Yeah, I do, but he's now got to understand that he's moving up into the most elite combat organization in the world, and he's just not going to be able to knock everyone out. This kid Aswell shows up tough from Texas.
Yeah.
Texas tough. Yeah, he lost, but he didn't go anywhere. So Luke Riley going to have to refine his game. And Aswell, is a guy that we keep an eyebrow up on in his next fight, depending who he gets.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with Aswell, but on Riley, I thought he just expected to show up and win, if I may say that way about him. I think, like you said, kind of a learning curve for him here of, okay, maybe this is tougher than I thought it would be.
You never heard of a wise young owl, have you?
That is very true. Evolov and Murphy, I think everybody expected this to go to a majority decision here for Evolov in this fight here. Change your opinion on this guy at all? I wasn't impressed with this final fight.
I was surprised. I was close to stunned at the decision. I thought Murphy at the worst had a draw.
Yeah. The majority, I thought it should have been a split.
The fact that they gave it to Evloev, and I had all kinds of wagers on him, it changed my night. But yet I was left. I don't want to say even bittersweet. A little confused because I banked. The people that follow me bank. We all won on our Evloev bets, but I don't know that it was really right. But I've been on the wrong side of them where I have indigestion into the Sneak Teep podcast the next Sunday morning. And so this one was kind of nice because I record the results and it was win, 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 lose. So, it was a pleasant recording of the results, but I think, and at home, I'm surprised.
Fighter,
I'm surprised at the result. That said, it's Evloev Volkanovski moving ahead, I would think.
Well, that's the question, right? Did they go? I'm not calling shenanigans, but did they go that route for the next fight?
Well, Volkanovski's saying it. How long do I keep sidestepping this guy?
Yeah.
So he's asking for everybody. Said, we'll see what the organization does.
Yeah, I mean, the fight itself, like you said, I thought it was kind of a snoozer fight, but it might be just because there were some great
technical.
Ones
it was very technical,
it was,
and Murphy kept it standing until the fourth.
I was impressed with Murphy. I mean, he held in there.
Absolutely. I've been sitting there watching it for 25 minutes, thinking. I lose this bet. I thought when I heard the result, I was surprised.
Yeah. It's just amazing how sometimes as a casual guy, I watch these fights and I'm all into them, and then the main event, you're like, is this over yet? Like, let's go. I got things to do. That is funny
go to
how
bed.
that works. Yeah.
That
was early. I didn't go to bed.
But think if you lived in Jersey. It's 1 a.m.
We got up and went to the rodeo is what we did. Went to the Queen Creek Rodeo after that fight. I think I watched the last round in the car. Yeah, I'm serious. Why?
That's impressive. Yeah. I'm in bed before the end of
it was like 4:30.
Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah,
we had dinner Saturday. You're right.
Yeah, you had dinner with your friend. Yeah.
I went to.
I'm like, Lou, it ended at like 4:30.
Oh, yeah. We went to dinner at a place in Phoenix called Tar Bells. You got to try it. Camelback and 32nd Street.
Right there,
just a great little
No, that's
spot.
what I did. I think the last round, we got in the car and we drove down to the Queen Creek Rodeo, and I was like, let's leave before this fight ends.
Can I give you my honest opinion on rodeos?
Yes, of course.
I have two sons. I raised both going to rodeos. We're from Nebraska. We've been to them everywhere. They are good, clean fun. They're so wholesome. They're competitive. The bull. I mean, I can't say enough about how family entertaining they can be. And I can't say enough about them. No matter where you are, you see a rodeo, you can go in, and it'll be really cool.
It's welcoming. The crowds are good. I've never been at a rodeo and had jerks around me or anything to that effect. Very patriotic, which I you don't see that much anymore, so it stands out.
Also good angle.
And then it is funny. I took a friend one time from Chicago who had never been to a rodeo, and when they do the calf roping where they rope them and they flip them on the side, like he was like, I don't like this because he hadn't seen it. It looks like animal cruelty
they don't hurt
at
him.
times.
They don't.
I go, man, those cows are more pampered than you are, buddy.
They're not hurt.
And stuff like that. But no, it's a great night, man. I love rodeos. I don't get to them as much as I used to. I used to go to NFR every year, and I haven't gone the last couple.
I don't go anywhere anymore, really.
It was great to get out there and do it. But I would have gone even if the fights were at night.
Hats off to the rodeo, baby. What
absolutely.
A great idea.
Those guys are just tough as can be.
Oh, one last thing on rodeo.
Yeah.
It's widely spoken of the toughest people in sports. Oh, those football players are tough. No. Here's the hierarchy in sports toughness.
Dale says rodeos are the toughest.
That's because he heard me say.
Oh, is that?
I guarantee you that. Because to me, the hockey player is the pinnacle. They do what an NFL guy does, only they do it 3 times a week.
And they do it on skates, on ice. Yeah.
But the hockey player can't hold the jack of the rodeo cowboy. The rodeo cowboy, you show me a dude that's going to get on the back of a 1,300-pound bull that's got he's tied in a special way to encourage him to buck. That's the baddest man on the planet, right?
Well, that you're talking about those. My favorite line is I knew this when I was a kid was I understand the first guy to get on a bull. He goes, but the second guy is the guy I got to wonder about. That's my favorite line ever.
That's a great line.
Because isn't that so true? Like the first person
that's
that drank
bad
milk.
Hombre.
Yeah, exactly. The second guy was the crazy one,
that's
not the
bad
first
hombre, right?
Because the first one didn't know what he was getting into. The second one saw it. So I mean, I think this way about UFC people too. I mean, the walk out to the ring and you get in there, you do all the checks, and you say goodbye to your team, and you go up those 3 steps. You get in the ring, and they ring the bell, and you're just you and another guy. Literally, I mean, they do it. They're respectful, but you're going up there to do some dastardly things to each other and everything. So I mean, there's a toughness there and a mental toughness that you have to wrap your head around that. I'll just tell you right now, I don't have that. I'd have to go into that ring mad. Like, you'd have to piss me off beyond belief for me to go in that ring and do something.
Somebody have to come to your house and kick your dog.
Yes, and then I could do it.
Then you're pissed.
But I couldn't sit in a room for hours getting ready and then walk out to music and then get checked out and then just walk in that ring and have that rage. I couldn't do that. But you'd have to get me up to that level. So you got to give kudos to these UFC guys.
I definitely have
it,
but God forbid I ever have to go there. Let's never.
Oh no, you get on my bad side, I'll do it. But that's what I mean. You have to get up there.
You never want to have to go there.
These guys
that's not where you want to go.
You see them in the locker room, Lou, and they're just sitting there.
But they can turn it on and off like a switch.
And they go out to the ring and they're just casual and they're joking. Oh, I'll see you guys after the fight. The guys, oiling them up, and checking their gloves,
ding, ding,
everything. And then they go in there and it's like, all right. And then that's 20 seconds later, you're knocked out.
Boom, 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 boom.
Their blood's everywhere. It is an amazing thing to watch. But this week, fights up in Climate Pledge Arena up in Seattle. This weekend, a big ring up there in Seattle this weekend.
Yep.
So they're taking that up there. Seattle fight, so it means 5 p.m. our time is the main card. So 3 p.m. or 2 p.m., excuse me, is the prelims up there in Seattle. Starts off with a women fight. Thiana and Brazil here in this fight. Women's strawweight. I'm going to assume, Lou, because the over-under on this is 2.5, minus 200 to the under. Tune in a little bit later, at least have it on for noise as this goes to a decision here, because a minus 700 odds here for Thianara, I think is her name, from Brazil.
Right, so you get cute and use Thianara via the decision, or you just pass on what 115-pound women's fight in a huge octagon.
They're tiny women.
I mean,
also,
it'll be great. It'll be great, but they start you off with one because they just want you to make sure you have enough time to get in the seats for the next fight, because the second fight of the night
Really?
is as good as anyone on the card, guys.
Navajo Sterling and Bruno Lopez?
No, sir. It would be Ricky
I'm sorry,
Simon
Ricky Simon. I skipped one. I apologize.
Simone.
Yes, and Yanez.
And Adrian Yanez.
Now
here's a bantamweight fight between a couple of guys now. Ricky Simone's from Vancouver. These fights are in Seattle. That's one area there. This will be all Simone. He's famous in the area. They love him. Simone, however, at this juncture, 33 years old. He's a little shorter than Yanez. Folds a little more wrestling into his game. Yanez is a Texas two-step striker extraordinaire that really can't wrestle with Simone. But if Simone tries to stand and strike with Yanez, Yanez could light him up. So we're going to have to see in this fight early Ricky Simone and late Adrian Yanez. So that means, Lou, what's the total? Well, it's 2.5, and it's shaded over pretty good.
Minus 185 to the over.
So they think, somebody's a decision, and a decision really lends you to thinking the hometown kid could get some home cooking here. Really, really close fight. I could be interested in Yanez, maybe even Yanez inside the distance if I was looking for some kind of bomber. We'll have to see how weigh-ins go and everything else, but that total scares me. If it was more shaded under, I think Yanez has a chance to maybe catch him, but Ricky Simone's tough as nails. I don't know if he's ever been knocked out.
Okay, yeah, bantamweights. I'm knocking out some power there for Yanez.
Yeah, he's got that's his shtick.
Then that's where you got Navajo Sterling here against Bruno Lopez. Here, New Zealand and a Brazilian fighter going at it.
Yeah, they take him all the way to Seattle to do it. Sterling is, this is a setup spot for Sterling.
Big favorite. It's minus 600. Lou.
Yeah, they're looking to make him. They're putting him on display a little by giving him a statue Brazilian to fight. This guy lost to Jacoby via KO, so he's there to be knocked out, and that's probably what Sterling's going to do. Yeah, short total.
Over under 1.5 on this, minus 145 to the over in this fight. So not a quick knockout if you go by the odds at least here.
Yeah, maybe it will be though.
It will be okay. So something to look at here going into this fight. Coming up, then you got another women's flyweight here. Fernandez and O'Neal, Brazil, Australia. Another Brazil-Australian fight. Completely different worlds going up to Seattle.
Yeah, O'Neal started gangbusters. She's dealt with some injury and some lack of activity. And she's been off for some time, August of 2024. Tough fight to bet. Sandwich time. Let's go to the heavyweight fight.
They have it as a pick 'em, minus 108 to O'Neal, minus 112.
Yeah, normally O'Neal should be a 200 favorite if this was 2 years ago. But there's so much unknown, and Fernandez, to her credit, has been the more active fighter. So I think that's why the line's as close as it is. If anything, it would be a good price to catch on O'Neal. I just don't know that I want to invest in someone who hasn't fought since August of 2024.
You don't know how rusty that is.
I'm trying to be really a little bit more selective in my choices when I'm looking at 76% favorites all the time.
Then you got Tybura and Fortune here battling out Poland, United States.
Yeah, here's the only fight on the card where somebody has to travel into the States to fight, and the guy from the States doesn't have to. So huge road advantage for Tyrell Fortune. The thing for Tyrell Fortune is kind of a bully, starts out fast, loses gas. This is his debut in the
heavyweight, by the way.
This is the debut in the UFC. And if somebody stands there and gives it to him and can take him deep, sometimes he has a propensity to not do so well after front running a little bit. A bully, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so this is Fortune's first fight because his picture is not on the UFC page, so that told me something.
It's his Fortune's debut fight in the UFC because Tybura's original opponent, whoever it was, fell out of the fight. Okay.
Now, 135 favorite to Fortune. We've seen this. I gave you those stats last week, and I got it from the broadcast that guys that are first fighters here are going into these fights as favorites, and they're not winning. They're winning in less than, it's like 60-something% odds that they're not winning these fights. So his first fight coming in here against Tybura. And over-under on this is 1.5, minus 140 to the over Fortune's a minus 135 favorite coming into it as well. So.
Yeah, and Tybura opened the favorite. So Tybura opens the favorite. They're flying on to Fortuna or to Fortune. And I'm not so sure I agree with that. I think even though Tybura is 40, I don't like to bet the old fighters anymore.
Yeah.
But 40 isn't that old in heavyweight, number one. Number two, Fortune's 35 and a veteran, and there's a reason he hasn't been in the UFC yet. I think Tybura could be in a good position here. We could be getting a good price on Tybura. I'm just telling you, we're talking a little bit about Tybura. You get the hint?
Well, exactly. Read between the lines there aren't no lines on there, folks. Chase Hooper here, Lance Gibson Jr. here in a lightweight fight as well. Hooper's a 278 favorite going to this. For a lightweight fight, over-under is only 1.5 right now, minus 185 to the over with these guys.
Yeah, Gibson's got some ties to Washington, and Hooper's fighting at home. Gibson is making a debut fight in the UFC, 31 years old, but they give him a long, tall, experienced Chase Hooper, now 26, been in the UFC since he was 21. Hooper has all the experience, been in with better. I think he's a rightful favorite. And he opened 350. Now he's only 220 or so.
278.
Yeah, that's a par 278. Okay, so it's going back to Hooper's way.
I was
going to say at 220, 230, he's a parlay piece. At where he stands right now, what you might want to do is take a look at him via submission because he is a deft submission artist. Other than that, no play for me there probably.
Then Ignacio against Masayev.
Musayev and Bahamondes. Bahamondes from Chile, long, tall, drink of water. He has great power, great kicks. From distance, the guy's a cobra. And then you got Musayev, short, sawed-off little Uzbekistan vice grip wrestler. But this guy's got hands, and if he can get inside, he can rain real damage on anybody he fights. The key here is, can Bahamondes keep this standing? And Musayev knows that his chance to win is to take Bahamondes, who can't stop a sneeze, let alone a takedown attempt, get the long, tall Chilean on his back. And I believe Musayev, whose name sounds like he can do it, I can assure you he can do it, and that's what he's going to do. Musayev is a live dog in this fight.
Yeah, plus 235 right now. Over under 2.5, minus 186.
Yeah, that might be a points play for old Uncle Lou.
So right now that's plus 3. I'm sorry, it's minus 3.5, minus 175 right now as well on the point side for Ignacio. This is the lightweight bout, final prelim fight as well, going into the main event as well. Then we get into the main card. Lightweight bout starts us off. Terrence McKinney and Kyle Nelson. United States, Canada again here, Lou. We're going to have some Canadian-American battles here.
Read the total and the price, please. That'll tell you all you need to know about this fight.
For this one?
Yeah.
For the total?
McKinney and Nelson.
Over 1.5.
No, 1.5
yeah,
under.
1.5 under, minus 270.
Okay. So McKinney hasn't seen a third round in his dreams. He has great wrestling, chooses not to use it. He goes out and just lets it go. And if you look, he's got nothing but first round KOs or been KO'd in the first round because after 2 minutes, 3 minutes runs out of juice and he gets caught. Against the better fighters still in the UFC, he has been caught. Against fighters that are no longer in the UFC and lesser fighters, he catches them. So the question now becomes, what kind of fighter is Nelson? Nelson's a fighter that's moving from 45 to 55, and you would think he would bring quickness with him, but he's probably not going to be the quicker nor the more athletic guy. He's got to see the second round, and if he does, I think he wins the fight, even if he sees the second half of the first round. But can he get there? This is another fight besides the one between Simone and Yanez that you got to watch because it's going to be short and it's going to be violent.
For the first main card fight as well. Then you got middleweight bout. Mansour Abdul Malik and against Yusri
Belgaroui.
Okay.
So Belgarui, this long, tall kickboxer who is world-class kickboxing, and they're teaching him how to transition into the UFC. And so he's trained at a couple gyms. He's currently working with Alex Pereira and Glover Teixeira in Connecticut. So they're teaching him how to grapple, how to keep the wrestlers off him, and how to keep a fight standing, because he's singularly dimensioned as a kickboxer right now. He's taking on Mansour Abdul Malik, who comes out, and the guy's a bricklayer, man. He's got nothing but power, and he goes out there and knocks people out, but he's been in against complete cans in the UFC. Steps up in competition, especially while this is on the feet against Belgarui, who's going to be the faster, longer, taller guy from the outside, sniping and kicking on him. So Mansour, I think, going to have to resort to wrestling. He was a wrestler at Maryland in college. And so the key here will be, can Belgarui keep this fight standing? I say yes, and Belgarui, I think, is a good consideration. He's what I wrote up in the VSIN Digital this week. It's on my webpage. I think Belgarui and that camp are going to be prepared for Abdul Malik, and Abdul Malik's going to have a hard time penetrating the distance in a big cage in this fight.
Yeah, in a big cage, you just stay back and let your length do the damage. From there, Julian Erosa, and then against Douglas here, United States-Brazil fight, featherweight bout up next.
Yeah, Douglas is a power striking machine, very aggressive, and goes out for the kill. Erosa's a guy that's been touched in the first round and put out. He can fight very unevenly, meaning he can, if he gets touched, he can go because he's a little chinny. But if he gets warmed up and gets a fight late in the first into the second, he'll find a way to submit you. The dude's crafty. Now, Erosa is from the area, and so he's fighting in front of all his home fans and his family. So you got to take some of that into consideration. So that makes me immediately go to, what's the total look like? Well, it's 1.5, so that means the Brazilian. And so in this one here, you either take Erosa via decision if it can go his way. If it doesn't go his way, it's Douglas inside the distance. And if you can get plus prices on both of those, you could play one of each and hope to win one and at least win one of the others. If it goes Douglas decision, you throw a party and you lose both bets.
Hey, but you're still partying, right?
I guess.
Michael Chisa and Nico Price up next, welterweight bout here.
Chiesa's from the area. He's a longtime UFC fighter and announcer. He's announced this is his last fight. He originally had an opponent scheduled that backed out via injury, and so Price steps in on short notice 50 days after he was knocked out and takes this fight. Price is a guy that's a pure professional prize fighter, has a family of like 6-7 kids at home. He fights his butt off to provide for them. He does it because he's a complete lunch pail mutter, great dad, great family man, and this is what he does. And so you'd think he could be jeopardizing himself a little bit against Chiesa because he just got knocked out 50 days ago. Good thing about Chiesa is even with a hammer, he can't hurt you if he hits you on the head. He got no hands whatsoever. Chiesa's purely a submission artist. And Price is big, strong, tall, maybe not going to win any IQ tests for you, but the guy can fight. And Price could be in a good position here. If we're up a little bit going into this fight, you got Price, who's 30. Price is 36, Chiesa 38. And this is all set up for Chiesa to ride out and get rose petals on his way out, but Price could upset the apple cart. I'm interested in Price. We'll see how we stand when we get to that fight.
Then we got Alexa Grasso and Macy Barber, women's flyweight.
This is a rematch of a fight a few years ago that Grasso won via decision. Barber wants it back. I don't know how it goes much different than the original outcome, which Grasso won via decision. But Grasso's been very inactive over the last 3 or 4 years, and she hasn't done well, and she's a beautiful, cute gal. I almost wonder if there's distractions there. A hard fight for me to get involved with other than to watch and see I lean to Grasso decision again.
Oh, plus 154 Grasso is right now on FanDuel. But, yeah, decision. 2.5 is the over. 475, minus 475 to the over.
Yeah,
here.
so
another
women's pillow fight. Go make a sandwich.
And then that gives us to the main event here. Middleweight bout, Joe Pyfer, Israel Adesanya here battling it out. Lots of hype on this fight last weekend. I mean, they always hype them, but they kept hyping this Joe Pyfer fight here as well. Nigerian versus American fighter here. And the Nigerian is a minus 148 favorite going into this fight.
Well, the Nigerian Adesanya is an ex-champion, and he's a GOAT champion. The dude beat everybody and faced everybody. The problem is, over the course of his last 5 fights, he's 1-4. And in those 4 losses, 3 or 4 of them, he's been knocked ice cold. And who knocked him out? Dricus du Plessis, Sean Strickland, Nazardine Imavov, and Alex Pereira. Now he goes in there against a hammerhead, throwing big, huge power slammer like Joe Pyfer, who looks just like Imavov, du Plessis, and Strickland. And yet, all week long, Adesanya, who is now 36 years old, and I just wonder that he's at the stage in his career where his brain knows exactly what he has to put his body through. Hasn't fought in a year. He's fresh. He's saying all the right things. He's going to come back and look great because his brain remembers how to. But as he gets the feels of the power of this 28-year-old hammer-throwing Pyfer, who has already been beaten, exposed in the UFC now on a good run. This is a pelt on the mantle for Pyfer that he really wants to get. And the question is, will his feet allow him to stay with Adesanya long enough to catch up to him? Because early in this fight, if Pyfer can get to Adesanya, I definitely think he can knock him out. If Adesanya can force Pyfer to use his energy for 2 or 3 rounds, he could hold great advantage late, provided he doesn't get caught. It should be a great cat and mouse, great stylistic fight. But I have to, no bet here, I have to lean to Pyfer in the fight, to be honest. I just think that my days, last year when I assessed my year, I got caught taking too many guys that were 38 years old fighting 32-year-old guys. Mm-hmm. And this is a fight where a 36-year-old is fighting a 29-year-old. I'm not going to get caught on the older side. I lean to Pyfer getting it done here and a changing of the guard, because this is how the UFC lets their old champions go, by putting him in there against a young, hungry guy to create ratings and a new, divisional threat.
So Pyfer's 29 years old?
Yeah.
I thought he was in his 30s. His last fight was Magomedov there.
Yeah, he steps way up in class, no question about it. I mean, at class, speed, he steps up in everything. I just don't know if I can believe Adesanya, who's had the championship, has been knocked out a bunch of times. He sleeps in silk sheets. He's a 36-year-old professional prize fighter. His brain knows, but I don't think the body going to do it.
I can't do it. He claps when he wants things, and people bring him, is what you're saying there?
No, he isn't Steve McCollum.
Over 3.5 on this, minus 135 to the over. That just caught my eye. And Pyfer, by the way, is a plus 124 dog right now. But the reason why that caught my eye is you said Pyfer could knock him out here. Is this a later knockout as Adesanya gets a little bit tired, or could it be an early round knockout here by Pyfer if he gets him?
Honestly, I don't even know if it's going to be a knockout. Yeah. I do think that the younger man holds advantage and will finish Adesanya. I think that's what I think. Am I willing to bet that? No. Yeah. No, I want to bet guys that I have a good feel for. I've already bet Belgarui. I like the advantage I think I have there, and I'm getting a plus price. So that's a bet. But when I don't know and I go back and forth, to me, that's me talking to myself right out of the bet. Yeah. If there's no perceived advantage for me numerically, or what I can find, in the intangibles, then I watch that fight.
Yeah, and that's be a fun end of the round fight here coming up as well. So, Lou, as always, here on Thursday, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
As well, and everybody enjoy your Sweet 16 night. Of course, baseball underway today with a lot of opening days happening out there. Then, of course, this weekend, a UFC on Saturday from Seattle. I'll be back tomorrow. Dale's off tomorrow, but I'll be back tomorrow. Bruce Cooper is supposed to join us. Dale might be off tomorrow, depending on his tee time for his Hall of Fame weekend there at his men's club. But we'll see you tomorrow, 8 o'clock here. Come and join us, would you? Don't forget, Pit Stop will be up about 2 o'clock today as well, as when that'll be up for this week. For those of you that catch the racing show as well. At the Pit Stop Talk on X is where you can follow that show as well. And we'll see you later, everybody. Have a great Thursday night.